Hello, welcome everyone. You are here for our Levelpath AI Masterclass, AI-powered procurement workflows from click to done. I'm Libby Sestak. I'm on the Solutions Consulting team here at Levelpath, and I am thrilled to be joined by one of my incredible customers, Meredith Ruff, who leads the Procurement COE at Qualtrics. This is the second session of our AI Masterclass monthly series where we reveal how AI is powering real-world procurement workflows. Each month, we're going to spotlight different use cases with real customer examples and measurable outcomes that are going to help you to scale your impact, streamline your operations, and hopefully accelerate your career. So let's dive in. Our mission here at Levelpath is simple: delightful AI procurement. Levelpath isn't just another tool that's bolted on to old systems. It's built on a single data model with an integration engine that pushes and pulls data seamlessly across your procurement processes. On top of that, our Hyperbridge layer makes the platform truly AI native. You're going to see that today. From Gen AI assistance and supplier enrichment to semantic search and a 360 view of your suppliers, AI really is woven into every single application within Levelpath. This means end-to-end procurement workflows for your stakeholders, strategic sourcing, contract management, supplier management, your pipeline tracking, and more, all powered by AI, not retrofitted onto outdated systems. We believe that procurement tools shouldn't just be efficient, they should be delightful to use. And today, you're going to see how AI-native foundations deliver just that for our customers. Now, Levelpath is an AI-native intake and orchestration layer for procurement. This has been validated by Gartner in 2025. We are now a cool vendor as well as being listed on the Hype cycle. Unlike legacy source-to-pay systems that added in an AI layer later, Levelpath was built around agents and LLMs from day one, and we integrate cleanly into any stacks that exist. This native AI architecture recognizes a fundamental reality. Enterprises rely on multiple business systems, and procurement needs to be able to connect the dots between all of those different systems to be truly effective. Now, this is why Levelpath was built with interoperability as a core strength. To break down why AI native, I'm sure we've all heard that phrase so much out in the market, actually matters, I want to use an analogy here. So let's imagine that Sarah buys a house and there's no central AC. I happen to have this experience in my house today. So she gets an AC unit, she puts it into the window, she gets a heater, she puts that in the house, and she's able to, maybe put a thermostat up on the wall. She's going to get some heat, she's going to get some cooling, but it's not all interconnected and it's going to break. She's constantly going to have to fix it. Now, let's say that Leo buys a new house. And Leo's house has everything interconnected: lights, AC, heating, everything is security. It's all talking to each other. And he's able, as those updates come out to each of those systems, they all update together. It's going to have a much better experience. So that really is the difference here between kind of tacking on artificial intelligence and having it really be a core part of your platform and your foundation. So we're going to be showing you today how AI, being a core part of the procurement platform that you use, really does make all the difference. One of these houses bolts features onto an old foundation, and one was born ready. All right, so let's talk about what AI-powered workflows actually deliver for our customers. They save time by turning tasks that maybe used to take 15 or 20 minutes. Now it's one click. They increase compliance because policies and standards are automatically enforced. And they boost accuracy. No more missteps, no more manual errors. And they scale easily, handling thousands of requests, approvals, or contracts in seconds. The rest of our session is going to show you how those benefits actually come to life with a real-life customer. So now I am so excited to introduce Meredith Ruff from Qualtrics and let her take it from here. Meredith's career journey has taken her from being a hands-on buyer to category management and now leading the Procurement COE which is the Center of Excellence at Qualtrics, where, remarkably, she is a team of one. Meredith isn't just optimizing procurement, she's absolutely reimagining it. At Qualtrics, one of the world's most customer-obsessed companies, she's building a COE that takes procurement complexity and really does make it simple. From engineering to enterprise-wide buying, Meredith is showing all of us that AI isn't a future promise, it is a present advantage. Welcome, Meredith. I am so excited to have you, and I'm really excited to hear you talk about, Qualtrics' story and how you're utilizing Levelpath today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Libby. I'm so excited to be here. It's quite the introduction.
You
And
deserve it.
thank you. And thanks for highlighting the fact that yes, we are, as an experience management company, are obsessed with everyone's experiences and no matter what realm. So we have a very high interest and attention on our own employee experience. And so it's been really fun to partner with the Levelpath team over the past few years to really transform the purchasing end-to-end experience at Qualtrics. So that's one way we were able to kind of look at both of our core interests and core priorities and really partner together and build a solution. You'll see here in a bit the impact it's had on our organization. So a little bit more about Qualtrics and the procurement team there. So we are a team of procurement, travel, expense, and AP all under one umbrella. So we actually brand ourselves as the global sourcing and supplier management organization. So as a whole, our team consists of about 28 people across category management roles, procurement operations, accounts payable, and travel and expense. So just looking a little bit at the scope that we have, you can kind of see what we have an annual addressable spend that we have routing through the platform today. And we are processing or bringing in about 300 projects per month. So pretty high volume for the number of people that we have. We have about 850 contracts, and we are using Levelpath for savings records as well. We have about $60 million in value add record entries in there today. So we use the full Levelpath suite all the way from intake, building outsourcing, contracting, routing through for signatures, and then finishing things up at the end. So we're using all the capabilities, renewal management, everything that Levelpath has to offer. We're taking advantage of and have been exploring and trying to figure out and partnering with the team on how we best leverage all the AI across all of that. So excited to share some of our use cases today.
Awesome. So Meredith, let's talk about before Levelpath. What was the picture before Levelpath? What did your purchasing process look like before you started using our tool? And was it, clear to requesters where to start in the process?
Great question, Libby. And the answer to that is no. So what you see here is kind of a diagram of how the process looked from a stakeholder's point of view. So they had 4 different entry points into our purchasing or contracting process. As you can imagine, that creates a lot of confusion and a lot of inconsistencies from a stakeholder's perspective. And it also made it nearly impossible for our category and operations teams to keep track of what's in their queue, where something currently stands, etc. So we were very much having to serve as a reactive organization. We were just processing what we could as things came across our desk. Kind of felt like we were underwater at all times, just trying to keep up with what was needed and the demand across the organization. So that was the pre-level path rollout.
All right, makes sense. So let's talk about the after. What changed after Levelpath was in place, and how did having a single entry point and one queue impact your team's workflow?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the rollout of Levelpath, which you can see on this slide, we've actually rebranded internally as QBuy. That's really just to help our employees feel comfortable in the system. We add Q with Qualtrics to a lot of our platforms and systems that we use. So just to try to help maintain some consistency. But what Levelpath or QBuy has been able to provide for us is really the transition from becoming more of a reactive organization to one that's more proactive. So, of course, this is still a work in progress. I think for any organization, you're always trying to figure out how you can get better, but it's really been transformational having one single place where requests are initiated, renewals are kicked off, contracts are stored, and savings are tracked. So it's certainly set the team up for further success and has made a significant impact on our overall stakeholder experience, which I think we have highlighted on the next slide.
Awesome. Let's get to it. All right.
Yeah, so you can see here just kind of a change in stakeholder satisfaction with the rollout of Levelpath. So we introduced Levelpath about this same week last year. So right in the middle of Q3 of 2024. And what we did was we sent out, being a customer obsessed organization, one of our own surveys to kind of pull our end users on, hey, what's your experience working and partnering with procurement at Qualtrics? What's the general sentiment? So we asked these 4 questions. The ones that are most relevant to the rollout of Levelpath are, I had an overall good experience and that the purchase process was clear and timely. So as you can see from our baseline data, we had a huge area of improvement when it came to processes and timeliness. And so very happy to say after just 2 or 3 quarters of rolling out Levelpath, we've seen significant increase in how end users are interacting with procurement and their overall satisfaction with the process as a whole. And a large part of that is the introduction of Levelpath. So those of you who have seen the product know it really maps out based on the nature of a request. These are all the steps that are required. This is where I currently stand. Also provides you the ability to talk back and forth with different collaborators within that project. So we've seen very drastic changes through the rollout of Levelpath and are looking to continue to increase this. We have a goal of reaching 85% for process and timeliness by the end of the year. So with all the improvements and features Levelpath's coming out with, certainly confident we'll get there.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to work towards that goal with you as we continue, expanding into Levelpath and rolling out even more of these features and what we're going to see a lot of today. So thank you so much for sharing that, Meredith. So the survey obviously made, the past points pretty clear. It wasn't clear where to start, repetitive data entry, slow reviews, and just really scattered approvals across lots of different systems. But let's look now at how Qualtrics is using some of our task agents here at Levelpath in order to turn some of those more repeatable processes that you're doing over and over again that take a lot of time into work that you can do with one click. So all of these agents here are being utilized by Qualtrics today. Let's talk a little bit about them.
Yeah, of course. We can start with the due diligence. So before Levelpath, what we were doing is when we were interacting with a new supplier that needed to be onboarded, we were sending them via email an Excel sheet for them to fill out with a bunch of information and asking them to attach their W-9, their banking information, things along those lines. So not only are you trying to keep track of things in your inbox, you're trying to make sure things are filled out to the appropriate level. And then after all of that, you have to take that Excel sheet and then compare it to what our standard due diligence policies are for new suppliers. So pretty manual review. And I would say a lot of times suppliers are passing these due diligence reviews with flying colors. However, that glance still needs to take place. The validation still needs to take place. So now with Levelpath's agents, we have our due diligence agent where we've uploaded our policy on the back end once. And so now that agent uses it as a reference playbook for our supplier checks. And so then it scans against the information that's actually now collected directly from the supplier in the Levelpath platform, and then produces an output that lets us know, does this supplier pass or fail our due diligence check? And where they do fail, it provides next steps in our process of who to follow up with to either ask for an exception or reiterate, this is why this requirement is important. Can you circle back with the supplier and see if maybe they have other documentation that can help satisfy our requirements? So a lot of less back and forth and much faster compliance checks. And ultimately, because our policy is uploaded in the background, so it's not up to someone's interpretation. So that's how the due diligence agent is working for us.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about how we do contract reviews then with our Levelpath agents.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the agent, with contract review, we're able to compare any language provided by a third party to what the Qualtrics standards are for certain clauses. And it actually will generate a nice, beautiful table for us that will highlight any deviations with any explanations of, hey, this seems off here. You may want to look at this. So what used to take, I can't even express the amount of time 45 minutes, an hour, sometimes more, to go through and review a contract and try to understand where we may have major discrepancies is now done at a very simple click of a button. And one of the biggest impacts from this specifically is it's helped us build credibility with our legal team. So now when we go to them, we're able to come with equipped information of, hey, we've already looked at this. This was already flagged. We've had these conversations with the supplier, expressed our concerns. So it helps streamline and move the legal review process a little bit faster. So we've seen great impact from our contract review agent.
Awesome. And then I know, after we built that agent, the next thing that we started to tackle was how you create a form every single time you have that contract, it's been reviewed, you need it to now be approved. And you were gathering that information, kind of manually. I'll let you share throughout the project, but then these next two agents came to be from that experience.
Yeah, exactly. So we've recently moved our contract approvals to a contract approval form system, and quite a few procurement organizations do that. And so when you're filling out this form, you're having to go in and fill out a bunch of information around like what's the term of the contract, what's the value, what's the cost center, all these pieces of information that already live in a project. And so what we were able to do was feed the agent our form, and at the click of a button, it now pre-populates all of that information. So from the project itself and from the contract documents. And so now we're able to just very quickly copy and paste information that the agent produces into our contract approval form and send that directly through DocuSign so we can get those approvals. So really helps eliminate those manual tasks of having to copy and paste information from a bunch of different fields and go into the contract and interpret things. So that's been really helpful. And then on the executive summary, it works really well with our CAF agent because when we're sending out that CAF or contract approval form for approvals, we like to include an executive summary to all the approvers that need to be looking at that form and the contract itself. And so what this does is it generates a nice little email for those approvers, just with really high level details of the negotiation that occurred, the sourcing strategy we took, equipping them with the right information that they need to be able to look and very quickly make a decision on, yes, I'm okay to approve this, or no, I have some follow-ups, let's discuss.
Sounds awesome, Meredith. I love all the different agents that we've been able to build together during your time. And folks, this only scratches the surface of all of the ideas that Meredith has come to me with. I feel like every single week you're like, hey, Libby, I thought of a new use case that we can utilize a Levelpath agent for. And we've just been building them out, expanding. It's been really exciting. So
let me just clarify, it's the team. It's our operations team that is coming up with all these ideas. I get to be the face of it, but they're the ones putting in all the innovative work.
I love that. Credit where credit is due.
Exactly.
Team, it's fun to talk about all of these agents, but Meredith, I think we should just show them in action. Let's show them how it actually happens in Levelpath. So Meredith, what I've done here is actually recreated the project flow that you utilize in Levelpath today. So we have all of these different steps in the Qualtrics process, and I want to show you here how our assistant is going to be able to utilize some of those task agents that Meredith has been describing to us all here in the tool. So Meredith, the first one that we talked about was due diligence. So everyone on the call here, what I did on the back end was that we had, a dummy supplier submit their risk form, and all of that information is now sitting within the project here. So it's been submitted. We have that information. I'm now going to ask our assistant and one of our task agents to run a review of due diligence against that submitted risk review. Now, Meredith, I will say, as a pretend supplier, I may have been a really good supplier because I filled in everything. I think, look at this, so consistently good. I wasn't operating any countries of concern. So I think we did get some results back here that are, looking really good, which is ideal. But like you said, I know if there is
Keep it easy.
that it needs to flag, it will call that out with an X. And as Meredith noted, also giving, a next step to that collaborator as to what they should do in order to address that risk. So here, team, as you can see, our assistant has gone across that entire risk review that has been uploaded. It's checking against each of these important points that Qualtrics has provided to us, letting us know whether or not the supplier passes that check, and then marking that with that green check mark, as well as a clear explanation of why it believes that it has passed. Anything to add here, Meredith?
No, I don't think so. Thanks, Libby, for demoing.
Awesome. And team will also say as well, let's say that you wanted to, put this in a table so that you can have it in a different format, maybe see it compared side by side. Our assistant is also going to be able to do that for you as well. You can then download that table and have it available to share out to the team. So just another way to take a look at it. All right, so Meredith, the next one that we talked about was that contract review, taking a document or a vendor agreement and comparing it against the standard terms that you've given me from Qualtrics. So I'm going to ask my assistant here to run that task agent, compare an uploaded vendor agreement from Monday.com in this example, and actually compare it against your standard terms, calling out for me anything that may be risky or anything that we maybe want to pay attention to. It's also going to let me know if we're okay with the terms that are in that specific contract. Doing a first pass legal review for the Qualtrics team. Anything to add here, Meredith, as this runs?
No, not specifically. Like I mentioned, we have our standards built into the back end, so maybe we'll give you all a peek into what this looks like, how the agents develop, so you all can kind of understand how this came to be.
Actually, Meredith, that's a great point. I would love for you to tell, our audience here, how does this process go? Do we have to involve your IT team? Do we have to write a bunch of lines of code? How do we actually build these agents together when you or the team have a great idea?
Yeah, this one could not have been more easy. We sent you a deck built as guidance from our legal team and said, "Hey, can you upload this on the back end and just run any any contract documents against it and produce this table?" It was so easy. For the due diligence one, we also just sent you our policy, and Levelpath goes and uploads it on the back end, and you just let the system know what you want it to produce as an outcome, and it magically appears. So no IT involvement needed, unless you're working on a project specific to them, or need an agent specific to them. And sometimes when I get stuck on even how to write an agent, I come in here and I just start playing around and asking it directly in the AI assistant until I get it to a spot. And then I say, okay, great. Now summarize this for me so that I can make it a recurring prompt. And then I'll send that over to the Levelpath team and we'll do some testing. So
Meredith, I love it. Meredith will send over to me. She's like, hey, Libby, here are all the instructions for the agent. Go. And Meredith, I will tell you, I copy and paste those instructions right in, and we are usually good to go. So Meredith does all the heavy lifting for me, but now I know it's actually the assistant helping you out. So good to know. Definitely a good tip here. Now, Meredith, we have taken a look at our contract. We've done that review. Now let's ask our assistant to go ahead, run a task agent to create a contract approval form for us. So everyone in the audience, it is pulling forward here. Our assistant is pulling forward information from the project that have been entered by the collaborators, the stakeholders, and putting it into that CAF format that Meredith has provided. So this is the standard CAF format from Qualtrics. It's pulling in all that information, populating it for them so that these folks don't have to go and find all this information throughout all of the different forms that have been submitted. It's going to be produced for them here, as well as listing out all of the approvals that are required for this specific contract. Anything I'm missing here, Meredith?
no, I don't think so. We just simple copy and paste.
Yeah, simple copy and paste. Love it. So this is now that form fully filled out. How long did it take to gather this information before?
Oh, geez. I'm gonna say 15 minutes,
Yeah,
10, 15 minutes. Now, a couple seconds.
now a couple seconds. Love it. Last one here, that executive summary that our task agent is going to create for us. Again, this goes alongside that CAF that gets sent out to each member of the team that needs to approve it. So giving them a quick summary of exactly what they're approving, what the payment terms were, if anything was negotiated. And really what's so great is that all of our customers that utilize, some of our executive summary task agents are able to give us the exact format that they want to see that information in, whether it's paragraph, bullets, etc. And again, it's a quick copy and paste now to get that out to leadership. Awesome. Alrighty, Meredith, I think those are our 4 task agents that we want to highlight today. Thank you so much. And we're going to hop back into our slides here. And I know we might have Sibel here on the line who might be able to tell us if there are any questions that came through. But folks, we do have just a few moments left here. If you have any questions for myself or Meredith about how we utilize these task agents, would love to hear them. Feel free to send them through.
Yeah, I think, Libby, we do have a question here, and it's in regards to the AP automation tool that Qualtrics is using. So how are you connecting, and do you have hyperlinks between both tools for easy access of information?
Yeah, great question. So right now, we run our entire kind of AP process through our P2P system, which is Coupa, and our ERP system, which is NetSuite. So we're not currently using Levelpath just yet in that realm or within that space. So looking forward to seeing what this team develops in that space. But right now, we punch out purchase requisitions and purchase orders into Coupa through the integration, but all of the AP tasks and the automations we have there live directly within those platforms.
Awesome. Thank you, Meredith. And I think there is a question around just due diligence review. It looks like this IDA uses a rapid ratings type of system to do financial or operational risk or analysis. And she's asking how, I guess, you incorporate that into your review, Meredith.
Yeah, it's a good question. We don't use a tool like a rapid ratings today, and actually we're trying to figure out how can we leverage more AI to reduce the need to kind of tack on some of these other add-ons or other tools that we can just do through AI research. So right now we're not connecting into rapid ratings. I'm not familiar enough with the rapids rating system. I think something maybe that could be done if there's certain playbooks. You could upload that into the back end of Levelpath and use that as an agent. But we today aren't using any form of third party to help run risk reviews or due diligence reviews. It's all done in-house. So probably a more simplistic answer than you were looking for.
Awesome. Okay, and I think that's it for our questions today. Thank you so much, Libby and Meredith, for running. Oh, wait. We actually had one more come through with a couple more come through with 40 seconds left. Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, here's one. Ronald wants to know, how does the data from potential suppliers such as W9 get into or stored? Does it get attached and moved into a local site?
Yeah, so it's collected through a supplier task or form within Levelpath within our project workflow. And then their procurement lead that's managing the supplier onboarding piece, they essentially download the W9 and banking information, then upload that directly into our ERP. So I know we will eventually be exploring how do we automate some of those things, but today, as of right now in this moment, it's a manual transfer from system to system. Then it looks like there's another one. Do you have any compliance use cases you can discuss, like for government regulations or tariffs? Yes, we do. I'm trying to think about like the best way to describe this. Um, our compliance team has a pretty tight hold on tariffs and anything along those lines. So we have our standard set of questions that we ask. And like I said, if anything gets flagged based on our policy, the level path prompt or agent is going to give you a little red X and then basically tell you to go talk to compliance. So it's scanning for that type of information and those types of flags within the information the supplier is providing, and then it will give our procurement lead responsible for the onboarding the guidance to go talk to compliance and get their approval or determine next steps within that team directly.
Awesome. And I think that's it for questions today. Thank you, Meredith and Libby, for walking us through.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Meredith. We are just so happy to be a partner of yours and just so excited for everything that we're going to create together in the future. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
Likewise.
Yeah,
thank you.
Appreciate it.
And please look out for our next masterclass on contract discovery coming October 24th with Western Union. All righty. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.